everybody. This is going to be my full text and question analysis for the ACT passage that I'm calling Apple. Welcome. Let's get right into it with the first paragraph of the first passage. This is one of those texts where there's passage A and passage B, so there's going to be questions at the end of this that are only going to be referring to passage A, and then questions that are only going to refer to passage B, and then a difficult type of question where they're going to have you combined information from both passages integrated together in order for you to arrive at the right answer. So these are a little bit more tricky than your straightforward solid text. So the first paragraph, pretty straightforward. It's a hashtag Plant Explorer discovers incredible apple forest. As this guy Vavilov is a Russian plant explorer and botanist, and he's going through Central Asia and comes upon Kazakhstan, and he finds this incredible apple orchard. Really a forest, more than an orchard, it's like a forest. In the second paragraph, it's hashtag he thought the forest was the origin or the birthplace and center of beginning for our modern apple as we know of apples today. The third paragraph is hashtag Plant Explorer is imprisoned, and that his theory would only be recognized later. Because of his Russian government under Lenin or Stalin, very corrupt communist government, he was thrown in prison because he believed some things that didn't line up with what Stalin believed, so he was thrown into prison, and that held back his theory, so it was recognized later. That's what that paragraph is about. The fourth paragraph is emphasizing with more detail, but the main idea is hashtag the apple capital of the world is in Central Asia, in Kazakhstan. Now in passage B, the paragraph 5, which is the first paragraph of passage B, it's hashtag Vavilov, amazing plant guy who made the claim of the birthplace of apples, which we have already learned about in the first passage. The sixth paragraph is hashtag knowing where edible food comes from is very important to protect us. And really what it's getting down to is that when we have issues with our plants and the stuff that we consume, that it's very important for us to know where the came from in our world so we can problem solve. Paragraph 7 is going into more detail to support what is in the previous paragraph, and the hashtag is we must manage plants well. And paragraph 8, it's hashtag apples are exploited. There's too many variety of them. And you kind of need to know that if you have a natural apple, and that we as in the world of plant botanists and people that work with different varieties of plants and herbs, well, we can modify them and change them and cross-pollinate them to create all kinds of variety of plants. That's kind of background knowledge for that paragraph, actually. All right, so that was pretty straightforward and quick to get through all of that. For both passages, it was, only 8 paragraphs? So let's see if we can handle the questions. 11. The author's use of the words and phrases thickets, stretching in every direction, and extensive forest in passage A most nearly serves to emphasize which of the following points? The answer is D. The magnitude of wild apples in Kazakhstan is stunning. This is a key ideas and details question. It is a key idea. The reason it's choice D is because it is the best answer compared to the others. So the strategy that would need to be used with this kind of question is you got to eliminate other choices to arrive at the right answer. 12. The author of passage A most likely states that the wild apples growing in the Tian Shan looked like apples found at the local grocery store to support the point that G, in the Tian Shan, Vavilov most likely found the wild ancestors of the domesticated apple. Key idea, we're really making an inference here, but choice G is a main idea allowing you to make inferences. So that's kind of how I'm blending the key idea point here, but enabling us to draw an inference to get the right answer. 13. Passage A makes which of the following claims about the plant species that are found in Kazakhstan? The correct answer is a detailed question, and it's D. Aside from apples, at least 157 plant species found in Kazakhstan are either direct precursors or close wild relatives of domesticated crops. And if you look back in lines 31 through 35, which I encourage you to pause the video and go back and look at it in context, the answer to this question is right there. And every time, I always point out questions that are right there. What I'm really saying is this is a question that you should not get wrong. 14. Passage B most strongly suggests that Vavilov was motivated to become an agricultural scientist primarily because he, Jay, hoped to help feed others. Straight up inference question. My support for it is in lines 60 through 62. Again, I'd appreciate it if you would pause the video and look at lines 60 through 62, and you'd realize that that's my justification for choice J. The author of passage B, and now see we're moving over here to passage B questions, it uses the phrase, quote, whittle away, end quote, to refer to the way that apple varieties have been, A, gradually lost from nursery catalogs, farmers markets, and the American table. This is an analogy to whittling wood. You kind of need to know what the word whittle means. And a word has oftentimes a connotative meaning, which means it's a meaning that we have an understanding of, even though it may veer outside of the dictionary definition of the word. And whittling in context kind of means that you break it down, and it's kind of like if you take a knife and whittle wood and you kind of take little tiny chunks and little pieces off of the wood, shavings at a time. That's break it down, break it down, break it down, break it down. 16. As used in line 82 and 83, the phrase named and nurtured most nearly means G, identified and cultivated. This is a vocabulary question. You have to eliminate choices because if you look at the two words used in choice G, identified and cultivated, that directly relates to named and nurtured. In passage B, it can most reasonably be inferred from the third paragraph that centers of crop diversity become crucially important when B, problems with a cultivated crop require experts to research a new variety of the crop. This is an inference question. B, this is where, and it says in the paragraph, in the third paragraph here of passage B, he goes, this is where they turn to when there's a problem, is to go back to the origins and problem solve and try and fix it. That's what scientists do. 18. Which of the following statements best describes the difference in the tone of the two passages? It's a key ideas in detail question in a global sense. And looking at the four answer choices, H is the best answer because passage A is celebratory, whereas passage B is a little bit cautionary. Remember, passage A is talking about how this botanist, plant explorer found the origin of our modern apple. And passage B is talking a little more cautionary about, hey, you know, when we have problems and issues, we need to know to go back to the source. So that's why I chose answer H, which is the correct answer. Compared to the author of passage A, the author of passage B provides more information about the A, reduction in the number of apple varieties in North America over the past 4 centuries. This is a key ideas and details question. Choice A is the one that has the most evidence. So I'd also be eliminating other wrong answer choices as I was able to, because it would lead me to choice A. And the last question is passage A quotes Vavilov as saying, I could see with my own eyes that I had stumbled upon the center of the origin for the apple. And passage B, this quote is directly H, paraphrased by Palova. If you were to look in 48 through 50, you would find that the answer is right there in those 3 lines. and that would be the end of it. So I appreciate your work, and thank you very much. You guys did good. I hope you learned something.